Okay, I think we are about ready. I think we're on air. So that, all right, we're on air here on my platforms for Amazon Live. We got Live Me Up. Welcome, everybody. When it comes to these live streams, usually we are going live on multiple platforms, so bear with me if I'm addressing different chats or just different. There's going to be different angles depending on the orientation. So you might be able to see myself depending on where you're watching. I'll do my best to pop into the screen, but it's most important that I'm showing you the products. So as I talk about these products, I will be getting them closer to the screen for you, so don't worry if you can't see everything. In fact, I have one more product I need to grab. It's in the fridge, so that's why I almost always forget it. So let me grab that. And I just want to talk about a few disclaimers before we really get into the nitty gritty of this live today, which is going to be all about Candida. And if you've ever struggled with yeast infections or any other symptoms like skin irritation, rashes, it can also be anywhere on your body that produces moisture, like under the arms and the mouth. We're going to talk about certain things to look out for. But before I get into this protocol today, actually another protocol we'll be talking about is the parasite cleanse. Again, I have talked about this in the past a lot, but we'll be talking about how that can also support this cleanse. So as a few disclaimers, the first one being, if you hear noise in the background today, that's because I'm filming this going live on a Sunday. So when I go live on a Sunday, more people are at home in the mornings. So right now, someone is using some sort of gardening tool, probably it sounds like a leaf blower. So apologies in advance if you hear, extra noise in the background. Another disclaimer is, everything I speak about today when it comes to this protocols, cleanses, ingredients, is to be taken as educational purpose only, not to be diagnosed medically or otherwise. Always consult your healthcare provider, your doctor, healthcare professional first before going on some of or any of, I should say, these protocols. Though we have always provided detailed instructions for each of these for the average or relatively healthy person. All right, now that those disclaimers are out of the way, please pop a comment below if you're watching, tuning in, or even watching the replay later, because I want to know if you've ever struggled with Candida. What kind of challenges have they brought up? What are the symptoms you notice? Because we're going to go over all of that. And then we're going to talk more about the Candida protocol by Dr. Hulda Clark herself. So we're going to go over Candida overgrowth, its impact on health when that happens, and just how to effectively manage it using Dr. Clark Store's Candida cleanse. And then we'll go a little bit into the parasitis cleanse as well, and how that can also be a helpful cleanse as well to do with this at the same time if you want to, as an option, a suggestion, right? But we'll talk about that later after we go into the Candida cleanse, which is the main focus today. So Candida is a type of yeast that naturally resides in the human body, so it is natural for those of you who are unfamiliar. So it's a genus of yeast that naturally resides in various parts of the human body. So that includes kind of the more like moisture areas like the mouth, throat, gut, and it coexists harmlessly with microorganisms. So kept in check by the body's immune system and beneficial bacteria, it's fine. But when it is out of balance and it disrupted, the Candida can overgrow, which is what a lot of people have experienced, leading to various health issues, which we'll talk about some more of those health issues in a minute. So, just first, some things that, some habits, some daily lifestyles, things that have led to or can lead to candida overgrowth is such as antibiotics is number one. And that one, not the very first, but just one. Broad spectrum antibiotics can emission beneficial gut bacteria that normally suppresses candida growth, allowing yeast populations to expand and check. So this could also include birth control pills, you guys. So just keep that in mind. If you're on any kind of antibiotics or even birth control pills, this could lead to candida growth. So another one is a high sugar diet. So high sugar, high refined carbohydrates as well. These can promote candida proliferation because yeast does thrive on these energy sources. Another thing is chronic stress. And I know with the sugar diet, the stress, um, these are a little bit more subtle, kind of like blanket symptoms for it could be what is a lot of things. But it's just still mentionable because when you do have chronic stress and you eat a poor diet, that can lead to a weakened immune system, leading to a compromised system, which is more susceptible to more candida growth or overgrowth. So also hormonal imbalances, so changes such as those occurring during pregnancy or from the contraceptive use, like the birth control, for instance, those can create an environment conducive to candida overgrowth. So, candida feeds on carbohydrates, high sugar, refined carbohydrates, starches from the diet. So, something to think about if that's a high concentrated diet of sugars that you consume on a regular basis, plus potentially on prescriptions for antibiotics. And then maybe you could be chronically stressed. Um, you may have an intestinal environment set up that could be susceptible for candida overgrowth. So that's why I want to bring this up before getting into the protocol, just for some food for thought before we get into it, to really think about your own lifestyle if maybe some of these things are at play, especially if you are someone who has experienced candida growth more often than once. Okay, now, all right, my notes got, oh, here we go. Oh, wait, no, it's not. My notes got a little bit messed up here, so I'm trying to fix that. What did I do? Okay, I think I fixed it. I'm not used to using my reading tablet a lot, so and it's an Android. No hate on Android, but one little click can just like mess everything up in this notes pad I'm using. Okay, back to where we were talking about these types of lifestyle habits. So, especially if you do more than one of these things, you have that lifestyle where you eat a diet high in sugar. Maybe you're taking birth control pills that are antibiotics, but you're also chronically stressed, setting up an environment that is susceptible to candida overgrowth. These may be some things to look at if this is something that is a reoccurring problem or challenge in your life. And if the growth remains unchecked, this can become systemic, which is why I mentioned, I've had friends in my life who have experienced yeast infections that are reoccurring. So this can show up vaginally, but also not only that, but in the mouth as well. That would look like white film on the tongue, lining in the oral cavity, but also the nails and the skin. And eventually, if gone unchecked, eventually into your brain functioning and your mood. So it's really important that it is addressed. So let's get more into those symptoms um, with this candida overgrowth too, such as digestive issues like bloating and gas, as the candida overgrowth can lead to increased fermentation, and that leads to more gas production. So you'll feel swelling and fullness, uncomfortability in the abdomen. There might also be some constipation and diarrhea, because Candida overgrowth can then disrupt the bowel movements, normal bowel movements, which can lead to some of these symptoms. And just overall, right, abdominal pain, just lead to the inflammation, the irritation. And for those of you watching on Amazon, if you're wondering why does she keep talking behind the products, I'm actually trying to get myself in the frame of my phone as well. So maybe there's a way. It's just the orientation is horizontal on one, vertical on the other. So in that case, I can only really try to fit myself partially in one, and then it comes out partially in the other. So I think what I'll do is I'll let the products on Live Me Up be the main focus, and that way those of you can see me on Amazon fully, and it won't be sacrificing both live streams here as I get my setup more down. um, so where else are we looking at in terms of symptoms? Fatigue. So fatigue as well. Again, very blanket symptom here, which can be attributed to many other things, but it is something still to mention because this can be persistent fatigue. If you have this overgrowth, you will notice that this fatigue doesn't go away, even if you are getting adequate rest. So that's why it's important to mention, because you'll still feel that along with weakness in the body and fatigue. General sense of weakness or lack of energy is often reported. So reoccurring yeast infections, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, can occur vaginally. So itching and burning, change in discoloration, discharge, and also texture. These infections can be reoccurring and resistant to standard treatments. So another one is called oral thrush. This one is maybe not as known, but this is characterized by white patches in the mouth. There's also could be redness, soreness, making eating and swallowing uncomfortable, and skin and nail fungal infections such as rashes, and the nails can become discolored and brittle. Really gone and checked for a while. These are the more overt physical symptoms, right? As well as other rashes and irritations on the skin. So you might see those rashes show up in the armpits, the groin area, even under the breasts. This can also look like eczema or psoriasis like symptoms with those patches of skin that are dry and scaly and inflamed. Excuse me. So it'll resemble the look of eczema or acne as well, because inflammation of hair follicles could happen. And I know I'm kind of covering a lot here without really getting into this protocol yet, but I think it's important for just everyone to be on the same page instead of me just going straight into this product. You or those of you watching not realizing the importance of why you might need this, because honestly, before this learning about this cleanse myself, I didn't realize Candida overgrowth, what causes it, where it can be seen. The only thing I knew about it was related to yeast infections, and fortunately, I'm one of the lucky ones who hasn't had the experience of those in my life, reoccurring or otherwise, not even once. So in a way, I was never really thinking about it, but we're going over all these other symptoms because those common ones are known, but there's other ones to look out for, right? Like the oral, the skin symptoms, rashes, irritation, and what these things could look like. So then we really can all be on the same page, understand the importance of this protocol. And so, with that said, if you are experiencing any of the symptoms I mentioned, check with your healthcare provider, see if any of it could be related to Candida overgrowth. And if it is, this protocol is now what we'll be getting into, and you can double check and see if this can be the right one for you based on these symptoms. So we're going to get into Dr. Clark's Candida Cleanse with antifungal formula. So some key ingredients to expect out of this cleanse is Paw d'Arco, blessed thistle, thyme leaf, wormwood, cinnamon, so many more. But for those who are familiar with Paul d'Arco, that's a natural antifungal property. It supports the body's defenses against harmful organisms, and it was always been traditionally used for its antifungal properties. It actually was used to help combat Candida overgrowth, and that is going to be in this bug buster formula. So I just wanted to highlight most of these I am talking about are going to be within the bug buster. But we also have here, we have betaine hydrochloride, and we have inulin, prebiotic fiber, and we have superchromium. And this is going to help curb those like sugar cravings during this cleanse. We're going to get into some of the other supportive functions too of these other capsules, powders, etc. But we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the ingredients in the cleanse that really stand out here and what makes this a potent cleanse for combating Candida overgrowth. Another one we have is blessed thistle. So this will promote healthy digestion, support liver function, and supports detoxification. Now again, this is going to be in the bug buster. This supports liver function and detoxification, aiding in the elimination of toxins released during Candida die-off. So that's going to help when the Candida is, making its way out of there, out of the body. We also have thyme leaf for its antimicrobial properties, so that aids in maintaining a balanced gut flora. This also contains thymol, a natural antifungal compound that inhibits Candida growth. And then wormwood, we have some wormwood in here, leaf powder. Talked about wormwood a lot in the past. We'll be talking about it a little bit more later too when I bring up this para cleanse down here, and I'll switch that up on top too once we get to that cleanse. Oops, that's not the right one. Oh, yes, it is. I was just talking about it because there's a little bit of wormwood in here. Oops, no. There's So wormwood is traditionally used to combat intestinal parasites, supports digestive health, and it's known for its antimicrobial properties. We'll go into it a little bit more. This also has cinnamon, which helps regulate blood sugar levels and offers antifungal and anti-inflammatory effects. So that'll support overall digestive health as well. And again, we'll be talking more about these other ingredients and their roles in this protocol, but this combination of herbs will restore the balance of intestinal flora by reducing Candida overgrowth and supporting overall digestive health. And this is going to overall be best for individuals experiencing symptoms of Candida overgrowth, maybe recently or ongoing, frequently. Those seeking a natural approach to restore their gut balance. So even if you don't experience certain symptoms overtly, this can be a great way to balance your gut, and for people looking to support their body's natural detoxification processes, as this is a completely natural herbal based cleanse protocol. So this, for those of you wondering, is a 14-day starter program, so it is 2 weeks, and you can actually extend it beyond that. Even you can do it for up to a month, 6 weeks, even a month and a half, right? So that is something that is really up to the individual and their circumstances, their health, where they're starting at, their health starting point, which is something you can also get advice from your healthcare professional, especially if you're on any prior medications. You want to make sure that none of the ingredients here would interfere with that. And if you have to wean off of those medications in order to start this cleanse, that could be another option or something that you have to decipher with your healthcare provider. Now, let me pull up the protocol or just briefly kind of go over what to expect. Nothing too extensively when it comes to day over the course of the 14 days. You can actually access all of that on our website. If you want to see the instructions to the Candida cleanse, you can always see that ahead of time. So what I'm going to do, oh, I just, let's see, maybe I don't want to see it that way. Okay, perfect. And in a minute too, I want to talk a little bit more about following a Candida diet, because that is going to be important with this protocol. So that's really kind of the importance of some of these things that I want to focus more on the day to day. So when you get this or purchase this cleanse, you will get a full print out pamphlet showing you exactly how to take the protocol, what to take when, out of each of uh, these supplements, excuse me, and the powders, inulin, etc. So I'm not going to go over that extensively. But what I will talk about is just being prepared with your lifestyle, in the ways of following a Candida diet that's going to support this protocol. So that's going to be really helpful. And again, all this information is going to be on our website and you'll receive it with this cleanse. But I just want to go over it briefly before we move on to the parasite cleanse. So you'll want to adopt a diet that really does eliminate sugars, refined carbohydrates from the diet, and that includes sweeteners. It includes wheat and dairy, fruits high on the glycemic index, starchy grains, vegetables, alcohol as well, of course candy and other sugars, sweets, baked goods, because the Candida does feed off of a diet like this. So we want to maintain instead a high fiber diet, which will help absorb dead yeast cells and their toxins, and then also encourage the removal of them during elimination. So that is going to be really, really important. Another thing is during the die-off reaction, you want to make sure that you're prepared for that in case your body reacts by the amount of toxins that can or are released during the dying Candida cells, like the die-off period. So that'll could or will and trigger an intense immune reaction. Just be prepared for that. Prepare for some brain fog and fatigue, and that's why it's really important to start cleanses, in my opinion, on a day or a weekend of rest, just to have a full day or two to acclimate. Because I know when I started a couple of these cleanses, not particular this one, but other ones from Dr. Clark's store, what happened was I felt very tired the first few days. My body was still acclimating. So that is exactly what will happen during this cleanse as well. So be prepared. And just overall adopting an anti yeast lifestyle, because it is very related to lifestyle environment, this Candida overgrowth. So this can be a reoccurring problem, and it has been. It will continue to be for those people who aren't addressing the symptoms. So that is another reason why we supplemented and provided the super chromium to help curb some of those cravings during the protocol. Want to maintain a strong immune system and healthy digestive tract. So adopting like that natural foods diet, it's another reason why we want to place that significance there too. There's some other things as well that are offered here in support, such as supplementing with antifungal nutraceuticals, which is going to be the next area I want to talk about, which is parasite cleanse, and the ways in which this cleanse can support your Candida protocol. So let's go over that. I'm going to continue on, and just know if you want to see the protocol instructions in detail for the Candida cleanse, you can access that on the Dr. Clark store website. You might be already watching on our website. If you're watching, hello. Apologies, you can't see my face fully. um, but working in the future to get myself on screen on every platform. So let's go back to this transition of the antifungal nutraceuticals and how they can help, one of which that can be through the parasite cleanse. Now, I went over the parasite cleanse not last week, but 2 weeks ago on our website through Live Me Up. We haven't been going live on Amazon in, excuse me, felt that one sneaking up on me. We haven't been live on Amazon, you guys, for a little while. Apologies. There has been some back end internal restructuring of scheduling and kind of just reallocation of trying new platforms, new live stream areas of just bringing more diversity. But Amazon is my personal favorite, so I'm happy to be back here today with you guys and more consistently in the future. So, especially on behalf of the Dr. Clark store with all their amazing products, right? All right, so enough of the tangent. Let's get back to the to the products here. So now we're leaning into supporting elements, so supporting cleanse with additional supplements. So I'm going to display the Para Cleanse right now. And right now we have that as our focus. So I'm also going to switch this out. Maybe I can just actually put these in the back. Now we're focusing on this Para Cleanse, which includes cloves, green, black walnut, and wormwood. And I realized the tangent I was going off of. The original thing I was saying, having to do that, is that I've gone over this parasite cleanse extensively. Dean and I both have on Amazon. This is a second time I'll be covering it a bit here on Live Me Up and just on the the live platform for the Dr. Clark store website. So let's briefly kind of just do a summary just to refresh the memories of those of you who are tuning in again to our live stream, for our fresh watchers and viewers, whether you're watching the replay or not. This is actually Dr. Clark's first cleanse that she would diagnose her clients. It contains green black walnut hull, wormwood, and cloves, and it supports the removal of various pathogens, including parasites and their different life stages. So this can be used alongside the Candida cleanse for a comprehensive microbial balance, which is really the angle we'll be talking about today. I've gone over extensive deep dives on the Para Cleanse in the past, and we'll be covering it again. We did this 2 weeks ago, so you can always check the replays on our website for that, and even Amazon too, our live streams. But the benefits of combining these two, so I still have the Candida cleanse back here, is that we're addressing multiple potential sources of imbalance in the gut flora, and we're enhancing overall digestive and immune health. So that is going to be really, really just a nice comprehensive way to kind of tackle the gut in a comprehensive approach, and these different angles, so that we have a really optimal way of that system working again with our digestion, with our gut flora, and our immune system. So let's kind of go more into this cleanse, the Para Cleanse, and the combo benefits in a little more detail, because that was just a brief intro summary. So what we want to do is talk about how these cleanses work synergistically. So the purpose of this intestine kit, so it's kind of called a couple different things: parasite cleanse, para cleanse, intestine and support kit. Essentially, we're talking about all the same thing here, but this purpose is to target the elimination of various parasites, including worms and protozoa, that may inhibit the human body. Now, this is a cleanse that you can do either before the Candida cleanse or at the same time. It's a little longer than the Candida cleanse at 18 days, whereas this Candida cleanse is 14 days. So the key components of our Para Cleanse is going to be the green black walnut hull tincture, especially this ingredient here, because the one that we have contains 10 times more juglone than your average manufacturer. So What does that mean exactly? Well, this stays green up to 2 years after the manufacturing date when it's been unopened. After opening, it does, from that moment on, start to turn brown or black as it oxidizes, which is completely normal. So I do keep this in the fridge after it's been opened. And it just starts to lose its potency that way, which is then when you have to increase the dosage. Now, it's important to mention that because a lot of manufacturers, you already will buy it brown or black, meaning it contains off the bat a lot less potency of that juglone, which is a key ingredient. Okay, so this has traditionally been used to expel parasites. We also have wormwood here. This is our Super W blend. Also has quassia bark powder. This is a freeze-dried formula. It's known for its anti-parasitic properties and also used traditionally to expel parasites as well as cloves. So cloves contains eugenol, which will or can help eliminate parasite eggs. So all of these are kind of tackling different stages of the parasite journey, the parasite life stages, I should just say. So, and then of course, that is to help eliminate the organisms. Then we have, once again, the Candida growth protocol, overgrowth protocol. I will mention real quick, if you look at our products, I have the freeze-dried formula of the intestine support or paracleanse kit tagged too, for those of you who maybe can't have an alcohol-based tincture. This is alcohol-based, so we've got you covered. We just have that green walnut hull in a powdered capsule, and those instructions will be there for those of you who are using the capsules instead of the tincture. So please do click through that, check it out, and you can get that still. Actually, let me add that real quick. I don't think I have it tagged on the other the Live Me Up one. So let me just add it. I think I can still while I'm live, which is cool. Amazing. Bear with me, everybody. I think maybe that's not coming up because some of these are out of stock right now. So if you are watching on our site, the freeze-dried version might be out of stock on our site. I'll have to double check that. Okay, back to what we're going over now. So yes, of course, we're just comparing two of these cleanses and how they work synergistically together. Of course, we went over the parasite cleanse extensively in the past, but just as a brief overview, this will target the elimination of various parasites, including the worms and protozoa, just those different life stages. And then we have our Candida cleanse, which we extensively went over. This is the purpose, aims to reduce overgrowth of Candida, a yeast that can disrupt gut flora balance. This has antifungal herbs. We went over all those key ingredients earlier, like pot arco, this milk thistle seed, and probiotics. So this will replenish beneficial bacteria and restore gut balance too. So they both share the synergistic relationship by sharing the same environment, which is our gut. Both parasites and Candida thrive in the gastrointestinal tract, so that's why they are so complementary to each other. An overgrowth of one can create environment conducive to the other, leading to compounded health issues. So basically, what that could look like or mean is that parasite infestations can weaken the immune system, reducing the body's ability to control Candida growth. And then conversely, Candida overgrowth can compromise gut integrity, making it more susceptible to parasitic infections. So, whether you have one to start or the other, it can create an environment conducive for the other to thrive. So, that's why it's really, really, really beneficial to look at doing both of these protocols at the same time or back to back to get and hit both angles there. So we want a comprehensive microbiome balance by addressing both parasites, candida, simultaneously ensuring a more thorough cleansing of the gut in that full environment in its entirety. So that includes enhanced detoxification. We're eliminating parasites, reducing the toxic load they produce by addressing all of the life stages in this comprehensive paracleanse. But we're also reducing candida, which helps minimize the production of harmful bioproducts like acetaldehyde or acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde. I don't know how to pronounce that. Apologies. But harmful byproducts in the body and the production of those, right? So we're looking to potentially reduce in symptoms such as bloating, fatigue, and digestive discomfort, not just once, but really ongoing. And there's going to be some ways to do that too, like the not parasitic, but the parasite maintenance program, for instance. So there's sequential versus simultaneously cleansing. So this is kind of the way we suggest doing these cleanses. You could either do these one after the other. So you would do the candida cleanse after the parasite cleanse, or you can do these also at the same time because both are going to be helping balance microorganisms. Benefits to doing both at the same time are the fact that you're kind of really getting two things done at once and clearing everything out at once, making it optimal again by addressing all these angles. Plus, these cleanses are a little bit on the longer side, 14 to 18 days. So just call it 18 days max. So it might be a good idea to stack them so you can kind of just kill two birds with one stone, for lack of a better phrase. However, it can be a lot, especially if you're new to cleansing. Maybe it's a lot on your body to take on all those adverse symptoms like the die-off phase and detoxing symptoms. Another thing is that this will require more attention to detail when it comes to your lifestyle, such as diet and essentially adopting that anti-yeast lifestyle. And limiting refined sugars. And that can be really hard actually when you're used to living in having a lifestyle. Hello, Janala. Apologies if I did not pronounce your name correctly, but hello, welcome to the chat, welcome to the live. If you're tuning in, please always say hello. I'm Nicolette. I did not introduce myself. How could I have forgotten earlier in the chat? Sometimes we have repeating people, but I usually introduce myself in the beginning, and I'm so sorry I didn't. I'm Nicolette. I'm a live host in the health and wellness niche. I always represent Dr. Clark's store, so you can catch me on their website live streams and the replays there, as well as our Amazon live streams. So hello. Nice to virtually meet you. So as I was saying, it can be a lot to combine the cleanses. The benefits are that you are kind of getting them done faster since you're doing them at the same time. However, it can be tough because it will require a lot of adjusting of your lifestyle. Like I said, another idea then is to do one and then the other. So you do the paracleanse first, followed by the second cleanse. And I'm working on a question or two. I apologize. I hit the return button too soon. No worries. No worries at all. So take your time. I'll still be here for at least another 20 minutes on the live stream. As I was saying, if you do these back to back, one good thing about that is that you get in the rhythm easier of taking a cleanse. So you get to start with one and just focus on that one, do it really diligently, and really focus on how you feel, notice any symptoms or side effects, and it'll be easier to pinpoint in a way. Um, and notice how your body is feeling. Whereas otherwise, it can be harder if you're doing two cleanses at the same time, knowing what to attribute to what when it comes to symptoms and adverse effects, things like that. Another thing is it could be nice because once you're in the rhythm of doing one cleanse, it might be easier to then just jump into the next one because you're already in the flow of it versus trying to tackle two at once. Um, and that can be overwhelming. So, adopting a diet low in refined sugars and processed foods supports the effectiveness of both of these cleanses, and incorporating high fiber foods aids in the elimination of, these toxins and these different things that need to be eliminated throughout both of these protocols, right? All right, so that'll overall support your gut health. You want to, like I said, monitor the body's response during the cleanses. So maybe it could be a good idea to do one and then the other back to back so you can really better pinpoint certain things. But otherwise, either way, you want to maybe be journaling this in a log, taking notes, or just overall meditating on taking mental notes of how you're feeling throughout this. Like I mentioned, when I actually did three cleanses at once. I did their first three, the digestive protocol and the intestinal support cleanse, the second half of May of last month, and it was a lot for my body. I will admit the first few days, especially because it was adjusting to the introductions of all the potent herbs from each of those cleanses. All right. So that is, let me see. Yeah, that is essentially a lot that I went over when it comes to the parasite cleanse. Um, I have linked everything below, by the way, when it comes to the Candida cleanse, separate ingredients there. You can actually get the parasite cleanse or intestine support cleanse ingredients separate as well if you wanted to, though I just tagged that as a cleanse because they are meant to be done together or back to back. All right, so um, let me see. There are some other things that I want to talk about, especially when it comes to being successful with these protocols, whether you're doing them back to back or together at the same time. All right, so we're going to talk about more about that because that is such a big thing that I noticed when I did my cleanses recently. It wasn't so much difficult to take them the supplements every day and remember to do that, but what was difficult was to adjust my habits, deny myself when it came to when I had occasions like birthdays and dinners where I had to eat something more beneficial that for this cleanse versus something unhealthier or processed or high in carbohydrates, right? So there are a lot of things here that you need to consider mentally. So let's kind of get into that a little bit more. It could be a good idea, based on my personal experience, to really dial in your meals ahead of time. A lot of these cleanses, if not all, require you to take these supplements 3 times a day with a meal or before a meal. And so that's going to be really important to have those meals prepared that will be supportive for this cleanse too. And that might require you to do some meal prepping, meal planning, going out, purchasing those ingredients. And some of those ingredients can be actually really easy to remember because we're looking at non-starchy vegetables for both of these protocols, reducing sugar, refined carbs, if not, if you can, eliminate them entirely, but if not, reduce them significantly. And include probiotic rich foods, right? So you want to embrace non starchy vegetables, leafy greens, broccoli, lean proteins, healthy fats, fermented foods. And then, of course, avoid those sugars, refined grains, alcohol, dairy products high in lactose as well. And, that can be really easier said than done, especially if you're someone who has your morning coffee with your favorite creamer in the morning when you walk your dog, which I do every morning, right? So you got to think about your lifestyle habits a little bit, and adjustments there. So prepare meals ahead of time to avoid reaching for convenience foods that are going to really compromise the protocols here that you'll be already dedicating so much time, money, and energy to the over the course of the 2 weeks of these. You can experiment though with herbs and spices, like those that are in the cleanse, um, and enhance flavor without added sugars, without added salts. So there are ways to do this that can make it feel um, more integrated. And some other tips, personal tips that I could give you is set reminders, especially if you're someone like me. Before I wasn't much of a 3 meal a day eater, and a lot of these required that to eat 3 times a day. So you might have to do some training to make your meals 3 times a day. I was someone who either ate 2 big meals or 4 to 5 small meals. So it was a bit of an adjustment to do that. So it helps to set those daily reminders on your phone or just where you'll see them every day on a mirror in your kitchen, fridge, things like that. You also help stay hydrated to assist in flushing out toxins during these protocols. You can also want to make sure that you can get enough adequate sleep. Maybe doing this during a season of life, period of time in your life where you do have extra time to dedicate to rest, whether it's an extended weekend, to just get those initial days out of the way that feel heavy, where you're still getting used to the herbs, especially and you're feeling weaker, or feeling some more of those detox symptoms. Maybe you have a profession or you can take like a week off, or vacation. Maybe like my mom, she was a teacher, she would have summers off, things like that. And that could be a good season to just rejuvenate, refresh, reset your systems, your body systems, including these two for your gut. And with that said, getting adequate sleep. So aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. That'll help support your immune function. That'll help optimize these cleanses too to really maximize the benefits of them. Let me see. Okay. Another thing that I used to mention this more often in live streams, and I do a better job at it still, is to engage in regular exercise too, to boost circulation and support detoxification. Now, those first 3 days of the cleanses, 3 to 5 days, I really didn't do a whole lot of exercise due to the nature of just my body needing more rest outside of, my dog, walking my dog. Um, so you don't have to go rigorous with it, but it does help just stimulate the movement of elimination, those elimination channels, those toxins, organisms, Candida, etc. And that'll really boost circulation and support detoxification as a whole for your body. And also encouraging, this is like always something I want to encourage too, is just stress management and managing emotions, watching your thoughts. Sounds a little bit out there, like how are these things connected? But they really truly are, because when you are chronically stressed, chronically angry, that chronic anxiety, that will take a toll on your body's health, especially if it goes months and years accumulated with that. So of course, I always mention the symptom of chronic stress and fatigue and tiredness. And it's a little bit of an eye roll at this point because it's always a symptom. And it's also something that most people do struggle with. But there's a reason for that. It's to be looked at because if gone unchecked, it does affect your health over time in these other physical ways that we don't usually make the connections for. So, encouraging stress management techniques such as, meditation, deep breathing, watching your thoughts, things that can really help bring you back to the present, separate yourself from your emotions, your stories, these things that can kind of get your emotions wound up. And when that happens, it sucks a lot of energy. If you ever heard the term energy vampire, we've used that to describe, I think, other people in our life without ever really coming to terms that we can be that for ourselves sometimes. I know I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but it is very genuinely all connected, so it's worth mentioning. So we aren't too out of pocket. We're not too out of context here. I do believe it is all relevant to this protocol, especially going through a 3 week intensive myself, doing 3 protocols at the same time. And it was a lot. It was a lot mentally. It was a lot in social situations to get my bearings, make sure I had everything with the cleanses, make sure my mental state was on track to not just give it up completely. I had moments of falling off. So there's something else I want to mention. Don't beat yourself up. These are 2 to 3 week protocols a lot of the time, maybe even more, depending on which one you're doing. Some of them are 3 months plus ongoing indefinitely or years to come, such as the para maintenance program, which we didn't talk about today, but it's an extension of this one. So, we want to talk about the mental piece because a lot of these are long term. They require lifestyle shifts, habit shifts. And when we fall off, we can be hard on ourselves and just give up entirely. But just know, like, if you ever need support on these cleanses, um, you can always reach out, contact us if you have questions. And I am going to be here for a few more minutes. I know someone might be submitting a question. I'm not sure, but you can submit it and we can always reach out to you as well in case I don't see your question in time before this live stream ends. But I will do my best, John Allard, to stay on. But doing cleanses is not for the faint of heart because it can take time. All right, I have a question came through. Let me just read it. Okay. Should we do all 3 together? He's asking about. Okay, let me read this question out loud because it's a good one and it's a longer one. We, myself, my wife, my daughter of 22, and our dog are just starting out on our detox journey. I love that you included your dog. That's great. My main question is simultaneous application. All of us were going to do the digestive cleanse quick version and capsules in parasite, tincture version with mimosa pudica. By the way, that one is currently out of stock with the mimosa pudica. Just wanted to let you know. So if you're looking for that one, just stay tuned. We'll get it restocked shortly. My daughter's one who has been overrun with Candida over the last couple of years. This is proving due to mainly to the drastic reduction of sugar and carbs in her diet. Great, that's amazing. Our plan was for all of us to do the 2 first, and then for her to do the Candida cleanse. Yes. Should we do all 3 together, or would it be best for all of us to do the 2 first, and then all 3 of us do the Candida cleanse instead of just her alone, since we all live in the same home? Our long-term plan is to do all of the cleanses. And I am John. My wife is Nancy. Ariana is my daughter. Thanks. Thank you for the name clarification. Because yeah, you're coming up as a different name. Kind of a interesting one there. John, nice to meet you. So this is such a great question. Okay. When it comes to a full family cleanse, your daughter's over the age 18. She can do any of the cleanses now. Your dog can only do, we only recommend that your pets do the para cleanse, not the Candida cleanse, not the digestive aid cleanse. So just be aware of that. All right, I'm actually going to see this so you can see me a little bit more here. Oh, I don't want to. Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, yeah, let's put it like that. So, John, the kind of like the family cleanse that we recommend is the para cleanse, but it's more obviously kind of directed towards children under the age of 18 and pets. So you can use that para cleanse one for your pet, though there's a specific cleanse protocol for the pet preparation that you can access on our website. And I would suggest that the Candida cleanse is really only if you need it. For all of you, I would definitely suggest doing the digestive aid and para cleanse together. Those are great to do together too at the same time first. And then your daughter can then follow up with the Candida cleanse. And then I think the Candida cleanse is definitely more of an individual base case. You and your wife want to maybe kind of take a look and see if you're experiencing any symptoms yourself of Candida overgrowth. Or, yeah, so I did mention those earlier in this live stream. If you want to check out the replay, you can, or just that's also all that information is also on our website too, of course. If you want to, let me see what else he's written here. Yeah. Okay, great. Yes, the pet protocol. Great. Yeah. So you've read our books, you've seen the pet protocol in there, which is great too. So you're aware. That's the only protocol we recommend for pets of our protocols, by the way. And then, so the Candida cleanse is more optional. The digestive aid and parasite cleanse, I would say, is kind of more applicable to everyone in the sense who is relatively healthy, of course. I always suggest just checking with your doctor first in case you have any other medications you're taking that could interfere with some of the ingredients and stuff like that. But if you're not, you're relatively healthy, we totally do recommend doing either of these cleanses together at the same time, the para cleanse or the digestive aid at the same time, or the Candida cleanse and the para cleanse, of course. When it comes to doing all three at the same time, I would actually just recommend that you all together do those first two, the para cleanse and the digestive aid, and then after those two, your daughter can continue on with the Candida cleanse, and then you two can decide from there if that is actually the Candida cleanse is actually something you two need as well. We also have some other cleanses though too to consider. If not the Candida cleanse, we have the kidney cleanse. We also have the heavy metal protocol too. Those two are also towards the end of our 5 protocols that we recommend you take. So those could be some other options for you and your wife as well, if not the Candida cleanse. I hope that answers your question. Clear. Yeah. So you two would probably not necessarily need the Candida cleanse. You can look into some other cleanses that we offer. Those could be beneficial, or just do the digestive and the parasite cleanses back to back. Though it sounds like you're doing the quick digestive aid and the full para cleanse, in which case is now that's an interesting case a little bit. I would probably suggest doing that quick digestive aid cleanse first, followed by the full parasite cleanse protocol, since you're not doing the full extensive protocols together. You're doing a quick version of one and then the full version of another, it sounds like. All right, yes, liver and kidneys are next, and then metals. Yeah, of course, no problem, John. I'm glad that you were able to tune in. I was able to get your question answered too in time with this live. And I'm still doing my best with each live when questions come up to answer them. And if there's ever a question that I can't answer in the moment, I will do my best to capture that answer throughout this live at some point, or pass it on to my team who can definitely answer it better, who are experts in this field, who are, working on these protocols every day. They're very naturally gifted when it comes to the sciences, something I'm not so much. But I've learned so much through working with the Dr. Clark store, my health, and so on, and doing these cleanses myself from personal experience. We are doing the quick digestive because digestively we're doing pretty well. Okay, great. Yes, I love that. And um, and that's such a good one because it's a lot easier to integrate with one's lifestyle. I can attest to that because you're just having to manage a lot less capsules, and that is should we do the full digestive? It's really up to you. Now, I would say if you want to do I've only ever seen it recommend to do the full digestive aid and full parasite cleanse at the same time, but not a quick version of one of the cleanses with a full version of a different cleanse at the same time. Does that make sense? So that's an individual decision, really. But what I would say is you could do the quick digestive aid first, followed by the full parasite cleanse. Because there's also a quick Parazap cleanse too that comes with the Mimosa Pudica, though I think we're out of this, like the Mimosa Pudica. Let me see something. Let me see if I can like write this question here and find out the answer for you. So we also have, if you ever have questions about any of our products, you can always also go to our chat support, Virtual Hulda. It's a little chat box in the corner on the right-hand side, lower right-hand side of our website, and you can get some questions answered there. Okay. You mind a quick digestive aid cleanse? I think it's saying that you can. So with the quick parasite cleanse, it'll be a little shorter, though. I think like 13 days instead of 17 days. It does say, so I'm using the virtual Hulda, which is essentially our AI trained help chat. And it's trained based on Dr. Hulda's teachings. And I asked, can you combine a quick digestive aid cleanse with a full parasite cleanse protocol? And it responded, yes. You can combine a quick digestive aid cleanse with the full parasite cleanse protocol. It did kind of go on about not doing certain cleanses before the others, but those were a little bit irrelevant to the question here. So it looks like you can technically do that, John. So hopefully that answers it. Okay, so doing fulls separately would be best though. You could do the fulls at the same time when it comes to uh, the parasite cleanse and the digestive aid cleanse all together. Your whole family can do those two together at the same time. And then with the Candida cleanse, your daughter can do that after you guys are done with those. Whether you choose to do the full cleanse or not is full cleanses of each is totally up to you. I just searched on our chat feature that it is okay to do the quick digestive aid combined with the full parasite cleanse. So you can technically do that. You'll just be ending your quick digestive aid cleanse, I think a few days before, about 5 days before the parasite cleanse, because the parasite cleanse is 18 days, and then the quick digestive aid cleanse is 13 days. The normal digestive aid cleanse is 17 days, so it's just a shorter day, 1 day shorter than this one. But I myself combined 3 protocols at one time recently. It was this digestive aid cleanse, parasite cleanse, and the kidney cleanses, and it was a lot. It was a lot to do all at once. I don't regret it, but I think I could have been better prepared. So you just have to think about if you guys are seasoned cleansers or not. That can really help you, or it could break you if you're not a seasoned cleanser and doing a lot at once. Because if you fall off, uh, that can kind of mentally set you back, though not physically, because you can just jump back on. Of course, it's not a big deal if you miss a dose here or there. Sometimes that would happen if I only had like 2 meals instead of three throughout the day. You really just do the best you can. But if I would recommend that, the thing with the doing the full digestive aid, it's never a bad idea. And I know you said your digestive's doing pretty well. I personally didn't really have problems with my digestive aid that were noticeable either. So I just opted to do the full one because I just wanted to like rip the band-aid off in a sense and do the full protocols together. But in the future, the quick digestive aid and really the quick versions of all these cleanses would be the better option for my lifestyle and just my routines and things like that. These would be our first foray into cleansing ever. Yeah, so yeah, it's this could be something to really talk about together. If you all are going to be doing it together, that's going to be easier to hold each other accountable, especially when it comes to preparing like meals. You're all going to be eating the same thing, ideally, and all on this journey together. So I think that helps it when it comes to like stacking these cleanses because you're able to hold each other accountable. Um, versus doing them back to back, you'll just be doing them over a longer period of time. You'll be doing them over the course of, at least a month, a little over. So you could look at it like that. Though if you're doing the quick digestive aid cleanse, it'll be easier to integrate into your lifestyle. And I will say the parasite cleanse isn't too hard either. Most of those capsules you'll be taking before your meals, and every day changes. You won't be necessarily doing the same thing every day, but it's pretty easy to keep up with now that I've done it myself. So I would do those two first, followed by the Candida cleanse, and that'll be up to you to really talk with amongst each other as to whether you want to do the full digestive aid cleanse or the quick aid cleanse. But you can do both of them, or either one of them, I should say, at the same time as the para cleanse. Like, that is an option. um, Apologies if I might be repeating myself, but I just want to make sure I do answer the question clearly, or questions, I should say. So I'll stay on for a couple more minutes in case any other questions come through. But it's really nice to be back on here again with you guys. Feels really good to be back on the screen, sharing products that I really do truly believe in. Because I couldn't do this if it was just like selling anything. Believe me, I've tried. I've done the journey of trying selling a lot of different products or selling within different industries. And it just feels so natural and easy because these are products that uh, are, been around, stood